My name is Nathan Martin. I teach high school math and I am an inclusion teacher, so I'm in the SPED department. I teach ninth grade Algebra 1. I do some 11th grade Algebra 2, and I do some 12th grade Advanced Mathematical Decision Making, AMDM. I may get put in a 10th grade geometry every once in a while, but mostly all of high school. So, and they mainly focus me in math. Um, the first thing I need to do is kind of compare the standards with my self-assessment. As I was going through the standards, the first standard, standard 1, where it talks about candidates who complete the program are teacher leaders who will facilitate the design of implementation of sustained intensive job embedded professional learning based on identified student and teacher needs. Some of the standards that are some of the self-assessment, um, the um, standards for those that I felt like matched up with them. The collaboration part. Let me start with this. The main one that I thought that went with it was the number 13, the commitment to student learning. Because you were identifying it based on student and teacher needs. But some of the other ones that I thought kind of went along with it as well was collaboration, communication, and the initiative. Because just being able to take the time to go and look up these professional learnings and things like that, I felt like went along with that one. For standard 2, candidates who complete the program are teacher leaders who work with stakeholders or to promote the development of school culture that fosters excellence and equity in teaching and learning, and focus on continuous improvement, creating a sense of belonging and a building of collaborative work environment. There were a few that kind of stuck out to me on that one. The main ones that went with it, I felt like obviously was the collaboration, which was at number 1. And then also number 14, the continuous improvement. A few others that I thought that went along with it was having a positive attitude towards we're here to develop. We're here to develop a positive school culture. We're focusing on improving. So you got to have a good attitude for stuff like that, because a lot of times we come in and there are negative attitudes. I don't have time for this, or this isn't really going to work, so I don't really want to try. So you got to have a positive attitude for things like that. A positive learning environment, communications, and relationships with adults. I felt like all of those kind of went together to work on that one as well. For standard number 3, candidates who complete the program are teacher leaders who demonstrate a comprehensive understanding of the curriculum and apply this knowledge. I thought that was kind of number 13, the commitment to students. Can't read my writing there. Student learning, commitment to student learning. I felt like that one was probably the most important that kind of matched up with it. For standard 4, candidates who complete the program are teacher leaders who model best practices in pedagogy and serve as mentors and coaches for educators. The main ones there that I thought went along with it was the communication and relationship to adults. You've got to be able to form positive relationships with adults if you're going to lead them. You have to be able to set that example and be willing to listen to their side and listen to their problems and things like that. Some of the other ones that I felt like went along with it was the collaboration, having a positive attitude, diversity in being able to deal with different teachers' cultures, different students' cultures, being able to apply all of that in there. And number 14, the continuous improvement as well. Standard 5, candidates who complete the program are teacher leaders who work with others to design and implement assessment practices and analyze data for monitoring to improve teaching and learning through data-informed decision-making. The biggest one right there was the continuous improvement. We sometimes as teachers, we always kind of get in what we're comfortable with. We've got it down to where I teach this way. I'm going to teach the same way every single year. They're going to get it or they're not. We're not continuously kind of pushing that envelope, trying to find new ways. That's what I love about my job in SPED. I constantly have to be thinking about different ways to explain these concepts to kids to get them to understand it. They may not understand it one way. I've got to be able to come back and say, well, think about it like this and explain it in a different way. That's one of the things that I liked about that. Standard 6. Candidates who complete the program are teacher leaders who access and conduct research, apply research findings to improve teach and learn. That again, that's that continuous improvement. And I thought the initiative was a good one for that one as well. You've got to want to go out and seek those opportunities to be able to improve the teaching and learning and looking up the research, because that's not required by us. That's not required for us to do our jobs, but that's part of the teacher leadership. And number 7, candidates who complete the program are teacher leaders who demonstrate the ability to collaborate. So obviously I thought collaboration, there was a lot of them that I thought went with this one. Collaborate with stakeholders to improve student learning. So obviously the continuous student learning and to guide a positive change. So that student learning environment, the relationship with students, your positive attitude, continuous learning. I think I've already said that one. Collaboration, diversity. Almost all of them I felt like went along and worked on that standard as well. If we're talking about how I rated myself, most of my ratings on that PBDA assignment was, I gave myself mostly 2s and 3s. There were a lot of, I get on the ones that I didn't give myself 3s on, there were a lot of ones like actively seeks. There, those type of things. I do look for things, but I'm not necessarily looking at research all the time. That's something I've got to get better at. I've got to improve on that to be able to get up to that 3 in that one. There was another one I gave myself a 2 on, that for a 3, I don't go out and speak to organizations. I don't write letters to Congress to be able to address like those type of things. I don't do that yet at this point to be able to deserve a 3 on that one. That's something that I would need to improve on. Seek new opportunities and challenges. That was one of the things that I didn't feel like I always did. I'll get my job done and I'll help anybody that needs me, but I don't go around all the time seeking out other things to do outside of that. With the dress, when I'm in teaching, I don't wear a long button-up shirt and a tie. Like I'm not. I wear a collared shirt and I wear my khaki pants, but I'm not a shirt and a tie type of person, so I didn't deserve a 3 with that. With the time management planning, I get everything done. I get everything done on time. I don't always get it done probably as early as I can. It's weird with me because some things I want to go ahead and get done well ahead in advance, and some things I can put that off till tomorrow. So I've got to get better with that. And then the other one that I gave myself a 2 on, I gave it on there because I don't always look up the most latest research. I think I mentioned that before. That's not something that just jumps out at me to look into to do. I enjoy teaching the same subject with different teachers because I like to hear how different teachers explain it and different tools that teachers pull in. And then I can take that information to my other classes and kind of take the bits and pieces of things that I like from each class and kind of put it together in one class. And it usually works out very well. And I'm usually pretty successful with that type of stuff. As far as the articles, the first article telling the difference between mentoring and coaching and that's the one that I kind of want to focus on because, like I said in my article review that I had to write on that one, I've been a mentor teacher in the past and I've been a mentee in the past, and I kind of had the idea of a mentor being kind of a mixture of all of it. and not necessarily thinking of them as separate, but I did like how it pointed out the differences in those. And I'm a baseball coach, so thinking about coaching in that way as well, to be able to kind of expand it. I kind of see I kind of do like a mixture of all of them, because I feel like in the beginning with a mentor mentee relationship, it does need to be more structured. Hey, we're going to meet once a week, or we're going to meet twice a week, or whatever it is, and document different things that we're going to talk about and cover that kind of stuff. Um, that I feel like is needed. And then the second year, you can kind of back off and say, okay, what are your plans? Kind of let them kind of speak through things and have their ideas out, and you can help them if they need it. But then I'm 15 or years or whatever into my teaching career, but I'm always still seeking, when I get stuck on something, I'm still seeking out people that I can ask questions to, or how do you do this? How do you combat this situation? Things like that. So I feel like there's a place for all of it, but I never thought about them as separate jobs. Um, in doing the PBDA, I learned a few things about myself, just in the fact that I feel like I'm a good, effective teacher, and I do my job, but I don't always go necessarily above and beyond in all the areas that they were looking for in that um, self-assessment that I did. Like I said, in some of those, I told you all the things that I gave myself twos on and where I was short. But that's that point. That shows me some stuff that I need to work on to be an effective leader, to be able to go where I need to go. And then we're talking about the connection of the articles and how it impacts me. Um, I've got, and doing my specialist, I am starting to see that motivation to learn one of those learning, adult learning. I am getting more of that motivation to learn. I've always been about doing the work. It's been more about the money for me. I didn't necessarily want to pay for my master's or pay for my um, specialist, even though I know mathematically, being a math person, I know it's going to pay for itself. I didn't ever really have the drive to necessarily go out and just, I want to do this because I want to be better at my craft. And I'm starting to see that more. I'm starting to get that more from going through my master's and now starting my specialist. Um, that and being able to apply those articles about coaching and the readiness to learn and just different things like that. They That's going to help me grow a lot for sure. And then the biggest thing that I'm going to apply is that, like I said before, that motivation to learn. Like I said, sometimes we get comfortable in what we do, and I do want to learn new ways to be able to reach some of these kids that I can't reach. There are some students that display apathy; they don't really care to be here. I want to be able to connect and reach those students. I don't. I don't know necessarily yet how I'm going to do that. I'm constantly asking and seeking for the kid that just doesn't want to do anything. They refuse extra help when it's given to them. I've gone through and I've recorded every single one of our lessons for our freshmen for Algebra 1. I've gone through and recorded them myself, working through and talking through every problem on there that they do in class, and share it with them. But when they are stuck or where they're confused, they won't watch them. Things like that. I want to learn how to reach those students. That's one of the biggest things. That's my motivation right now. That's my motivation to learn. Teaching the kids that want to learn is easy, but it's the kids that seem disconnected, seem apathetic. You just don't, I just can't figure out the best approach, how to relate to them, how to reach them. You try to talk to them and they're good for a day. They're fired up for a day, but then when they come back the next day, you're starting from scratch again, and you're trying to, and then they don't react or they don't respond. Excuse me, to what got them fired up the day before. So you're constantly fighting that battle, and I want to learn how to connect to those as well. Thank y'all.